Yeah, another great week in the books. Busy, busy, busy. And we are going to have a crazy spring in Knoxville. So, strap your shoes on tight and get ready because it's going to be a busy next couple of months for all of us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited for it. Of those things coming up is Holaroo 25. Go to holaroo.co. Register today to join us in the Soapbox Derby Street Fair and Rock and Roll concert. As part of Holaroo, I will be appearing before the City Council this week. So if you want to see me on TV, go ahead to the CTV YouTube page and watch me at City Council this week. I'm sure I'll say something stupid. Anyway, we're Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go to almostagreement.com. Check out what I just mentioned, among other things. Go to your favorite podcast provider, like, friend, follow, share. Text us to your friends, whatever you do to share the show. We're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to keep talking about what we talk about. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. And, here we go. How about day?
Hey.
What's the haps, Jack?
Oh, not much.
Okay, so... Many things. Anything exciting popping off the page for you that you want to get out ahead of?
Yeah, nothing particular.
I did look through a little bit of this policy thing. That's a lot of reading for a busy time for me. I'm curious what your most...
I literally skimmed through that in like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. I've had about 6 minutes of my own headspace.
There's a lot of big pictures in there too.
I'm very curious what you are most curious about it to get your take on the different things that are in there.
I really just kind of looked through it more kind of today. I kind of skimmed it on my phone a couple weeks ago.
Let me put some context on this for the people. You've mentioned it a few times in reference. University of Maryland did
There's a couple of different surveys I've mentioned. This is the most recent one, I guess.
Okay, this is October of 2024, University of Maryland School of Public Policy. The Swing 6 Issues Survey. Over 50 policy positions supported by bipartisan majorities in 6 swing states and nationally. And there's some people listed on there. And so, there's a bunch of stuff about like what the sample was and how they were doing all the stuff. And then it goes down and breaks down specific questions like number 1A, because it's alphabetically correct, I believe. Oh, no. All right, I misread that. Sorry. No, the first one on here is healthcare cost. Cap prices, do all that kind of stuff. And these are some of the breakdowns of the different questions they asked. And they used the 6 swing states, and their references, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. And so the first set of them is, what's the terminology here? Common ground in the battlegrounds. That's the headline of the thing. And so policies with bipartisan majority support in all 6 swing states and nationally. Right, so they have it bracketed by different subsets. So this first subset is policies with bipartisan majority support in all 6 of the swing states mentioned and nationally. Healthcare costs, housing costs, families with children, abortion and birth control, international tariff and trade, immigration and the border, energy and environment, international engagement, NATO and Ukraine, Social Security shortfall, and stock trading by elected officials. So those are agreed issues. There's some more details on each one of them, but those things basically what the long and short of the statement here is, not only the majority of swing state Americans, but the majority of Americans, period.
Now, I want to say they mentioned in here that after they did the 6, they then sent it out nationally. But I think their initial goal was to, like I said, just kind of more survey these 6 states that kind of decide our election typically.
Right, and so under the healthcare cost bracket, it says cap the prices of prescription drugs to what is charged in other developed countries, make permanent the higher pandemic era AC8 subsidies, expedite bringing generic drugs to market by prohibiting pay to delay agreements between brand name and generic drug makers. Ooh, I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. Pay to delay.
Yeah, because actually they went through and told people what the policy was, and I think even gave them a short argument for and against it. I did see at the very end, I guess they did pay respondents for their survey, which isn't that unheard of in surveys. Yeah,
especially if it's as long. I mean, it's taking some time.
Right.
This is not one that you spend 5 minutes on your doorstep with some door knocker. This is one that you're going to spend a goodly sum of minutes working with him on.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't just like check yes or no. It's
I think there were
hey, like here's this actual idea, and here's what's involved in it. Are you for it if it's in this way, or are you against it if it's this way, this way?
And I think the majority of, I think this is a study that underscores our presumptions that we've talked about from day one on the show.
Right.
I think most people are more or less on the same page with a lot of things, and the politics is why we get these weird extremes that nobody actually cares about. And I think I think if I wanted to simplify this 50 pages into one sentence, it would be that. And so it's neat and it's handy, and I will be citing this from time to time when it comes to certain topics because I have some actual data instead of my assumptions to work with, which I guess is argumentatively better.
Right.
So
I think it's a good positive sign in the divisive state that a lot of people like to view kind of politics in general.
But that's just it. I don't think this unrings that bell. That's my problem with your assertion. Yeah, we agree on a lot of stuff, but I think the agreement on the stuff is probably in general has never been the issue. It's always the how do we get there kind of stuff that's always the more divisive.
A lot of these topics they talk about are things that, most people assume, the Republicans and Democrats are just completely at odds on. But what this shows that now, again, even on some of these divisive...
Hold on. I was just to clarify a term.
Right.
Republican and Democrat voters, not parties. They're not party members.
Correct. I guess these are people that
identify as
a Democrat or a Republican.
And I apologize. I don't mean to be like a stickler for language here, but that is an important distinction.
Well, I'm also kind of melding into, what people kind of assume the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. I mean, we talk about all the time that it's even such a gray area as to what the R or the D means.
But I don't think so, because I think, like I don't know, pick one out of here and I'll give you the party argument for it.
Let's see here. I'll open it up to Social Security.
Social Security.
Page 19. We got a proposal. Increase number of Border Patrol agents from...
That's not Social Security.
Sorry, Border Security.
Immigration and Border Security. 18, 19. Here we go. Page 19, everybody. You'll have copies of these in your mailbox tomorrow when you send me some PayPal money or something like that. Border Security proposal increase the number of Border Patrol agents from 20 to 22,000 and provide them more funding for surveillance.
I just picked that one out at random. There's no...
Okay.
Bipartisan majority in every swing state, 71 to 77%, including majorities of Republicans at 77 to 82%, and Democrats 65 to 79%. Nationally, support is 70%. On average, Republicans at 74%, Democrats at 71%.
Right.
So this would be to hire 2,000 more Border Patrol agents and provide them more funding for surveillance. On that particular proposal, I guess, per se.
Right. Now, the Republican...
policy proposal.
Right. The Republican... For federal government politics, if I'm AOC or if I'm Mitch McConnell, is that... both of them could present this proposal and could make it make sense inside their party. But I think especially with the way government works, if a Republican presented this proposal right now, the left's reaction to that would be xenophobia and separating families and doing all the evil stuff that they talk about doing on the borders all the time. That would be the game that would be played in the chamber and in media on this proposal becoming a bill, right? So, hell, our boy Timmy Burchett presents this as a bill to Congress. The argument on the floor, the Democrats would automatically vote no to it because.
Why do you think that?
Because Timmy Burchett put it up.
This was part of the. I think this is one of the proposals, not specifically this one in particular, but of the border bill they tried to pass like 3 or 4 months ago. I think part of that was to do exactly this, was to hire more Border Patrol agents.
And
I think part of when
Biden was still in the White House or after Inauguration Day?
Yeah, like I said, like 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, I mean it's whatever.
It's what? It's March.
It's mid-March. And you said a couple of months ago, I think would be the quote out of your mouth if we're going to get real technical about your words.
Sorry, I thought I said 4 or 5 months.
Sure. And the Republican argument was that wasn't enough. We're not putting a half measure in. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And we're going to do as much as we want to do. Because it's not about what I don't think any bill that gets passed, especially federally, is ever about what's actually happening on the bill. It's about who gets the win and loss in the game of politics.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay. That's my point, is that we could say Republican and Democrat voters all we want. Problem is that we have these Republican and Democrat voters who agree on this issue, but they keep voting for the people who refuse to play who insist on playing the game the way politics are played instead of actually representing them. See the distinction I'm trying to make here?
That's one of the whole points of what this school does.
Okay.
Is trying to advise politicians on how their quote-unquote constituents, how they really feel on certain policies. It's like, hey, we reviewed all these people.
I don't think there's incentives in the way politics works for them to actually listen to it. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's not the way DC politics plays. It's not about what's popular.
Sometimes, not all the time.
I would say.
I mean, there's a lot of times where the politicians go by the way they kind of feel that the public is moving, and we see it all the time, and kind of shifts in party policy or whatever because they think there's an underswelling, for or against a particular topic. So all of a sudden, politicians will flip-flop when they think there's public support or against any topic.
I don't know.
I don't disagree that politicians, don't always vote the way of their truly the way their constituents, would really want something.
Right. I guess my overly zealous critique of this statement is I would just change the phrasing to rarely vote on what their constituency actually wants. Like that's low on their list of priorities of why they vote one way or the other. If they had a list of priorities, it would be a donor conversation. It would be the party. It'd be the party conversation, the donor conversation, the best lobby group conversation, and then maybe 5 or 6 on their list of things they consider as the actual constituency. Especially in DC politics, but I think it's prevalent through the system.
Right. That's what that one other survey they did from 2016 that we talked about a little bit about was kind of pointing out that for the most part, lawmakers aren't going by the way of their constituents, that people do feel that they're more beholden to lobbyists.
Right. Which is a tragedy, and that should be the easiest thing in the world for us to fix in an election cycle. It should be so easy. If that's how we really feel, if there's a significant sum of Americans, but somehow the system makes it so it's really hard for you to do anything but vote for the team that you're used to voting for, and so we get stuck with the same school of people. I mean, I think it would take one cycle. If we had one cycle where the fucking rails fell off and Republicans are winning strong blue districts and Democrats are winning strong red districts and there's independents winning all over the place, and all of a sudden we have this weird 30-20-30 Senate with 20 independents or 20 non-two major party members, and then there's all this fighting about which caucus they're going to be in and all that kind of stuff. I think that would change everything in a heartbeat.
I mean, I don't know how many states have done it, but I know I've heard of a few that have tried to pretty much outlaw ranked choice voting from ever being an option. Right.
That's because the parties know it's better for them long term.
True. Hey, it's something they have bipartisan support on.
Yeah, it's that or selling or sending bombs somewhere. That's about the only thing they ever agree on. I don't remember who said it. Might have been my crazy libertarian guy that I listen to all the time. His quote was, when they come out bragging about it being bipartisan, it's just be prepared. It's really just bend over and hope they bothered with lube this time. If they agree on it, you're probably getting fucked. That's his take on it. But anyway, I digress. That's how certain people think about it. That may or may not include myself. So swing back locally a little bit. Did you see the plan for stadium parking came out?
No, I saw that there was a story about some businesses downtown that were kind of worried about workers, about there being availability to park during these set events.
I mean, I could see that, but that's a good
part of it. There was one of the old city parking lots was going to be ADA on event days and some kind of like they had like pre-scheduled parking where you could like prepay for parking at certain lots.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know. Like, so there's two garages that are downtown that are rarely used, especially on the weekends. They're used during the day for the different businesses and like the banks and stuff down there. It's a Suttree garage. It's the one across the street from the Market Square garage. Not the Market Square garage, but if you go across that street, there's two garages over there that are both pretty big garages.
So like Walnut Street or something right there?
Yeah. I don't remember the names of them. One's Suttree and one's Summer Place. That's, I believe, Summer Place and something. The Summer Place one is literally the parking garage that was built for the TVA towers. And so, like, that was the parking garage for the TVA employees that used to work in there. Apparently, on the weekends, it's free, and nobody ever parks there anyway. And so that garage and another garage are basically, those are going to be prepaid tickets to park there. They're going to have shuttles running and stuff like that. So you can get out there. Plus, it's like 0.6 miles. It's not that far. I mean, I think Scott made a good point on his show today. It's like, you don't complain about having to park like halfway through the West Town Mall parking lot and then get into the mall and go all the way across the mall to the store you want to be in while you're there. You literally walk a half mile to a mile to get to where you're going anyway. Yeah. It's just that you can see the building you're going into, and so you feel like you're close. When you park in one of these garages downtown, you can't see the stadium there because there's another building or two in the way, but you're not that far away. Like the furthest one on their list is like 0.7 miles, which a decent pace walk is 15, 20 minutes. Like very slow walk is 30 minutes. And plus there's going to be shuttles and stuff like that. Like we talked about it last week before, like I think the one home game overlap, and if there's playoff baseball and more overlaps with UT games, I haven't tried to look at all the different stuff on the calendar. Like it's going to be interesting when we've got, like, you know, because you've had times where there's a concert at the Civic Auditorium with a hockey game at the Civic Coliseum. And so all that parking's eaten up by stuff that's going on in the Civic itself. You're going to have shows at the Bijou, shows at the Tennessee Theater, a bunch of different random regular stuff going on in Market Square. Maybe we have this AAU basketball tournament or the Bassmaster Classic going on at World's Fair, which is going to eat up all the parking over there because all the people staying in those hotels and stuff like that are going to swallow up all the parking. It's going to get interesting. There's going to be weekends where it's going to be a little crazy. But I would much prefer that than another garage or two. Like, I'm going to be very mad when we need to build another parking garage. No, we don't. Quit being a suck ass. And like, Kat needs to do some stuff. I've presented Kat with us as an option to come up to the Holler and do a route that comes from the Holler down through there. We don't have a ton of private parking per se, and we're not going to do a charge parking thing. But, you know, if you want to come park in the Holler and catch a bus down there, there is a city bus that runs that anyway. And so you just pay the $1.50 or whatever the bus fare is and make the jump. But I don't know if you get the ride back. And I certainly wouldn't want to walk back because you got to go through Knoxville Skid Row to get back on foot. But anyway, that's the correct answer to me is quit being all NIMBY about it. And you don't have to park right in front of the stadium to go to a baseball game. You can park and catch a bus, or you can park and walk a half a mile. It's okay. I'm excited about it. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a crazy spring in the city. We got a ton of stuff going on. Soccer's going to start in a couple of weeks after baseball starts, so we're going to have soccer games going on down there. So we got the Bassmaster that we talked about. We got that AAU thing going on. Rossini, like the normal Rossini Festival, among other stuff. There's going to be fireworks for like 5 nights straight. I'm glad I don't live like yeah. The opening weekend, the whole opening week, apparently they're doing fireworks every night at the baseball games. So some of the questions I have, and the real questions though that I do have, is this Summer Place garage and the other one that's downtown proper. These are city garages. The city owns them. They're normally free nights and weekends garages. You're going to go to the Smokies website and you're going to get a parking pass for $5 for game days. Who do you think gets that $5 bill?
The city.
I hope so. They fucking better. I have concerns that they won't. I have concerns that go because you're buying it through the Smokies organization.
All right, I guess I wonder if the Smokies organization has like the guys that monitor the lots or whatever, if that's through them. And then it depends on, I guess, who owns those lots. If they're city lots.
They're city property.
Oh, okay. But do they pay a company to, quote-unquote, manage them, the parking?
It's a good question.
Some of those have like the little boxes where the city doesn't run those boxes where you put, what spots you're in and print out the ticket and put that in your windshield.
Yeah, but the city gets a cut of that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's like, probably what this is. Like where the city gets a cut. But
when I went down to City County the other day, I paid $12 to park for an hour, not even an hour, in that one surface lot down there because I was in a hurry, which happens. It should be the majority of that cut. I mean, that company shouldn't be taking.
Right, I don't know percentage wise.
If it's for my example, for $12, that city that company could take $2, maybe $3, but the city should be getting $9 out of that if they own that lot. That might be a private lot. Actually, I'm not sure. The one I'm talking about now, the one we're referencing over here, is a city-owned lot. If you're paying $5 to park there, the city better be getting $4 of that.
All right,
I'll be quite upset because that's some bullshit. Unless it's like the $5 goes to the Smokies, but that's automatically goes into a fund to pay the debt or something like that. But no, just pay the city it and let it go.
I'm trying to think, what's the staffing company that does like Thompson Bowling Arena?
Aramark.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's probably something kind of like that where they've got a contract with a company that they can hire people to come, man the lots or do whatever. Kind of tell people to nope, this lot's full, keep going to the next lot.
Yeah. Again, I don't like the logistics of the game day of the parts and pieces. I don't really care. Like that's the idea that you didn't build your own parking and you're going to get paid for using other people's parking. Like I hope the city owns it and the city is managing it, and the city, if there's a contract company that's doing it, it's a company that's contracted with the city, not with Boy Sports.
I don't know if it's a convenience thing as far as you can get on the Smokies website, buy your ticket, and buy your parking pass all in one thing.
Again, I don't know
what it is.
I don't know the truth of it.
Right.
I don't know what the actual answer is. It's just that is one of the things that is being discussed in it. And I think the one that does the ADA parking, that's fine. But then there's a season ticket holders can buy a parking pass, and so those whole 2 lots that are underneath the. John Sevier there? Not John Sevier. James White.
James White.
Those whole 2 lots under there are going to be ADA for the stadium on game days and season ticket holder parking on game days. Again, that's city property. If the city is getting a cut of the season ticket holder's fee to have access to those spots, I'll shut up. But the way it's presented doesn't sound like that. It sounds like the Smokies are getting that money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I will see what I can find out about that. Speaking of me trying to learn things, I don't have an answer to the story I'm about to tell, but it's the most amazing story. And my idiocy, I suppose, to follow it down the rabbit hole. So I heard a little rumor that the one and only Dolly Parton, her first performance in public outside of Sevier County, to an audience, to put a bunch of qualifiers on it, was at the cast walkers that used to sit in Happy Holler. If you know the history of Cass Walker, I sent you that link. It's a very interesting Knoxville figure. Cass Walker had a set of grocery stores. One of his promotional things he did is he bought a couple hours of radio, and one of the things that he did on his radio show was he brought Dolly up from Sevierville, and she would play on his radio show from time to time. And that was a semi-regular thing. That's a known fact, whatever. But the rumor part is that she would, when she was in town, and this was when she was young, like 15, 16, 17 or whatever, that she might go, she did some busking while she was in town. And so, and in that era, Happy Holler was actually kind of a hopping nightlife area. And we're trying to get it back to. And so it's feasible, like it's known but not documented that she did do that sometimes when she was in town. She'd come and play the radio, and then she'd go play some little bits and bobs here and there. But for the most part, she was only coming to town to play on IBK when IBK was on Gay Street, where I think IBK was where the Regas is now, or near where the Regas is now.
I'm not sure.
I think that's where IBK's original studio was. Anyway, they would come to town. She would play there. It's known that she would go maybe putz around in other places in town while they were in town and then go back to Sevierville. Or maybe stay the night, go back tomorrow. I don't know. Whatever. And so, but anyway, that whole rumor about her playing for an audience at in Happy Holler as her first audience show in Knoxville, maybe even her first non-Sevier County show to an audience. I'm trying to find out if that's true. And so I hear the rumor. I'm like, that's a super cool story. I'd love to know if that's true or not. So I emailed Jack Neely from the Knoxville Historical Society and asked him about it. He's the one that filled in some gaps about Cass Walker and the other stuff on that for me. He's the one that was telling me that she was known to play around town, do a little busking and stuff like that. But he doesn't know of any documentation to say anything about my specific thing. And so I'm trying to think about, how do I prove this? And my wife, who is a genius, says, well, ask her. It's like, well, it's not as easy as asking her, and she knows that when she was saying it, but it's like, it's not like we're trying to find some information about Elvis. He's dead. We can't ask him. And so I'm like, okay. And then I spent like 3 hours last night not reading this survey that you told me to read that only takes 15 minutes, going through the internet trying to find people who would have access to her. And so I found her manager, which is my favorite new thing that I've learned this week, is the man who manages Dolly Parton's career also manages Casey and the Sunshine Band and a couple other artists, as well as Megadeth. And I'm just really in love with that combo of artists this guy's managing. Dolly and Megadeth running around together. The same guy manages their careers. Pretty awesome. Dave Mustaine, from all accounts, is a fucking asshole. So it's how much different can you get between Megadeth and Dolly Parton musically, and apparently also Dolly Parton and Dave Mustaine personally, because Dolly is a sweetheart and we all love her. Dave Mustaine is known to be kind of a dickhead. Yeah. So anyway, I emailed his office. I'm like, hey man, random question. I don't know what I'm doing exactly here. I heard this rumor. It'd be a really cool little historical bit for me and my neighborhood group, and we're trying to build this neighborhood back up. Is there any way we could figure out how to prove, like, how to get some provenance for the story? I don't know what to do from here. Please let me know if there's anything I can help with. Blah blah blah. I haven't heard back from him yet, and I was like, who else could I do? And so I found her publicist that runs out of Nashville. Emailed that office. I'm like, listen, I know this is a stupid, crazy request, but I'd really like to find out if this story is true. I could do it as I've got a couple of media people as well as some historians here in Knoxville that could do an interview. If we could set up an interview with her, that would be great. But if I could just get a document that she says, yes, I did perform at this place on this time, and it's just signed out of her office, that's good enough for me. Whatever we can do, just let me know. Right. So I haven't heard back from either of those yet, but I'm going to continue kind of pounding that thing, because the guy whom is buying that property to build a new building on it, I'd mentioned the story to, and he said, if you can bring me proof, I will put something in that building to make reference to it. Right. So we'll make it a historical marker of some sort if we can prove the rumor as true.
I think that might change some stuff, like city and legally wise, of it, with it being kind of
right.
Like,
that's what part
consider a historical designation.
Well, they could, but it would be past the point.
It would be something separate, to where they would have to actually apply for it to be on a historical registry or whatever.
Right, but like the building that it happened in is gone and long gone and been rebuilt, and the building that's standing there now is about to get torn down.
It's just the site up, right?
Right, and so I think, other than being registered historical, as far as the proof that I find and present, and they go and put it on some sort of list of, like, this is, if you're searching the archives for Dolly, this pops up as a registered landmark of Dolly. That's about, but I don't think it should change anything for this guy trying to build anything on it.
No, like I said, I was thinking that part of the building was still there, because I think for it to be considered that part of the original has to be there to designate.
I think realistically what I'm hoping for is, like, there's one on Kingston Pike right in front of Bearden.
There's those like signs randomly at different little spots.
Right,
those are just like markers.
I'm trying to remember the one that's in front of Bearden, though. It was some battle site or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because I know you get out there, Dixie Lee Junction's got one, that this is Dixie Lee Junction, and it's a super historical thing.
Yeah, there's that old house there at Kingston Pike and Campbell Station. It's that old brick house. I think it's got a little marker next to it. It doesn't look like it's that old, but I think it's like late 1800s.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. The city of Farragut bought that house. And it's turned into...
I don't know what the historical designation is. But
they turned it into a museum to what it is. And I can't remember what it is, but they bought that house and all the land around it's a park and all that.
I'm assuming it's predominant family's house or something, maybe.
Yeah, it's been there since forever.
Yeah.
Which you always think to yourself, it's like, commercial. weird old house.
Yeah.
But then you have that farmhouse that's still there on that like 25 acres that's right next to it on the other side of Kingston Pike. Like that's still empty. I mean, that's still just and to my knowledge, they've never grown anything in that field. It's always just been grass.
I want to say I've seen some of the big round like hay bales in there, but it's been a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. But so anyway, that's my Dolly escapade. If anybody has anything, almostagreement@gmail.com, let me know. If you know somebody who might know how to get some information. Dolly, if you're listening, just almostagreement@gmail.com. And we can set up an interview time, and if you can put it on the record on the podcast, I can count that as provenance. I can take that to the man, and we can have another sweet, sweet Dolly statue right in my Happy Holler. Sound like a plan?
I like the idea.
I love it too, because everybody loves Dolly. Well, because you roll into it too. Like Happy Holler is kind of it's a gay neighborhood in Knoxville, for lack of a better word. It's a very gay friendly area, and the gays love Dolly. The gays would go crazy if I had Dolly come down and play Hollaroo. I'd go crazy. I'm not a huge Dolly fan musically. I'd lose my shit if Dolly came and played Hollaroo. Dolly, hit me up. What else is going on? Stadium parking, the Doge, and other crazy shit swings its dick at UT now.
Saw that. And they were on a list of like 60 universities that were under investigation.
Right, 60 universities. Like 5 were on a list, like on a shit list, and then there's 55 of them that are on we need to take care of this kind of thing.
You guys had an incident.
And it's so weird, though. Like, I have a lot of problems with a lot of parts and pieces of this. Like, one, let's tell the truth here. What it is that this is the Trump administration and whatever Linda McMahon or whatever her name is, and they're dismantling the Federal Department of Education, trying to set up pretense to rescind funding. That's all they're trying to do. They want to rescind funding, and whether there's some loyalty test that Trump's going to throw out to a Boyd or a Bill Lee or something like that, so that he doesn't take the money away. Like if he's going to use it as leverage against Boyd or Lee or somebody else in Tennessee, or he's just going to take the money. That's really what this is. This just gives them a fake excuse
to withhold funding. Yeah.
Right. But if you go down into the actual complaint, it's fucking crazy. The actual complaints, which we do have excessively redacted copies of the complaints from the student at UT, it's this weird new definition of anti-Semitism, that this kid doesn't feel safe on campus because there are people that are anti-Israel or anti-BB or anti-Zionists protesting on campuses, and he doesn't feel safe as a student because these things are going on. And it's like don't get me wrong, there are some anti-Zionists, there are some pro-Palestinians who are anti-Semites who do want to kill all Jews. And that is a problem. But for the most part, our number one, one of our most famous general use Knoxvillians, our falafel, Hassan falafel guy, he's a Palestinian American. He doesn't hate Jews. He's very public about his stance on it. He's like, I just don't want my family dying. I don't care if Israel still exists or not. I just want people to stop dying and my friends and family to stop dying. Right. But with a federally mandated new definition of anti-Semitism, that technically counts as anti-Semitic. And so if you're a Jewish student on campus, you can argue that's anti-Semitic. The federal law, a federal resolution, not law, but a federal resolution acknowledges that, and now the University of Tennessee has to take action to protect said student from anti-Semitism, which is it's truly, as far as I understand, most of it was not anti-Semitism. It was anti-Israeli occupationism.
Well, it was just anti-U.S. support or military support for Israel. So I think some of the protests were on.
Right, but it still runs in that same kind of gambit of like this loose thing, like which if you go back it up a little bit, like this is the craziest thing about this, the whole Gaza, Israel, and the U.S.-Israel relations thing. Like the idea that at any level, a U.S. citizen, a U.S. visa, a U.S. green card holder, who is publicly protesting against a foreign government, could somehow be be anti-American? Because there's a separate story that goes into this too. If you want to talk about it, it's a national story, but that's irrelevant. But that somehow it could be even remotely criminalized to a U.S. national security interest. That I say, hey, you know what? I think our relationship with the UK sucks, and I think the UK government sucks. And now somehow that's going to be like against some sort of speech laws thing because it's an ally that I'm speaking poorly to of a foreign nation or something like that. That's crazy. Yeah. Which is essentially what's happening here. If again, to take all the history of the Jewish settlements and all that kind of different crap out of the conversation, but it's literally a group of people who are protesting against a foreign entity and its use of force against another foreign entity. How that could remotely be an anti-American thing seems crazy to me.
Some of it's just kind of like a questioning the will of the government or a certain administration. I think there's kind of a pushback of questioning that. And I think that's where they kind of lean into the little bit of anti-American. This is what you're doing. If you're not supporting this, we saw it after the Iraq War that if there was any kind of questioning of the war,
you hate the troops.
Yeah, you don't support the troops. You hate America.
Nope, I don't support the people who make troops.
You're not a freedom lover. You're a freedom hater.
Right, but if you talk to any vets, they're like, I went over there to fight for freedom. I didn't go over there to protect poppy fields and heroin dealers, but apparently that's what I had to do. The Afghan ones,
right?
It's like that's anyway. Yeah, it's right. It's a straw man argument that somehow still lands. Like somehow that's still a winner. I hate it. There's so many fucking issues with that. I hate it.
It's just hard to push back against it. You're like, no, I do support America. Like, well, then why are you questioning it? Do you not love me?
Right. If I actually love you, I have the balls to say something to you that you may not want to hear.
No, it's supposed to be unconditional love.
It is unconditional, but the correct thing to do is, hey, man, like that's what I think you hit the nail on the head right here. America needs an intervention. We need an intervention. We need to sit America down with a group of friends and people who love it and say, hey, man, we love you, and because we love you, we need to talk to you about a problem you have right now. Man, that's a good sketch. Like, if I was a good comedian, like, I could write that sketch up. That'd be a good sketch. That'd be hilarious.
It's possible.
But I mean, but it is. That's what it is right now. It's like we have this weird complex as a nation that we have to be involved in. A, we have to be involved in everything, but B, like, any question of a decision is something like, it's crazy. That's the point. That's the point of democracy in general.
Right.
It's the point of the First Amendment. We're supposed to be able to say, no, you guys are dumb. Stop it.
Or at least ask, like, hey, wait, why are we doing that?
Right.
Just tell me why. Like, okay, I see that you're doing it already, but
right. Give me some.
Tell me why.
Right.
Tell me why I should support this, and why I should continue to support this, whatever.
Right. And honestly, and this is my hot take of the night is like, if you lied when I asked why and you give me an answer and that was a lie and you knew it, I think you should get drawn in court.
Okay, it's a little severe.
I mean, but I don't know how many kids died in Iraq from the second round when there was the yellow cake thing that never existed and they knew it. Colin Powell knew it wasn't there, but he went on TV and told us it was over and over again. I think that's as high treason as I could think of. That's as high treason as me going over there and hanging out with Putin for a while and then coming back and talking about how awesome he is. I truly believe that. Like, that is whatever the punishment for high treason is, that should be on the list. You lied and had got our kids killed. That should be as high a punishment as we could delve out. That's my take on that. Anyway, moving on back to local news. Sorry about that. Got serious there for a second. Education things going on, whatever. Betsy Hendrson continues to make the news with her stupid trip to the voucher office.
I haven't seen the continuing saga, I guess.
Okay, so Terry Hill, who is a county commissioner and former school board chair in a previous life, went to a school board meeting to speak on her personal capacity about how she disagreed with Betsy Hendrson using her personal capacity with the title of school board chair going to the state, which in and of itself is a great little thing. But more importantly, they're the same district. So okay. Betsy Henderson's district for school board is the same district Terry Hill represents in county commission because those districts match. And one of the things Betsy keeps saying in her excuses for why she felt like it was okay for her to do this is she ran on school choice, which is a weird thing to run on as a school board member in the first place, but she did, and she got elected, and so she felt that her election was a mandate to push for school choice wherever possible, so she did. Terry says, well, I ran for county commission, and I talk to the same constituents you do, and nobody is telling me that, like, everybody that I'm talking to is saying that they don't really think this is a good idea. And we have the same constituent set. Which goes back to I really think that was a complete political show that Betsy put on, because Betsy wants to see if she's got the gravitas to replace Mayor Jacobs.
It's possible. Well, I'll give respect to Terry Hill for going in and maybe at least trying to point out, I'm assuming, at least there was a decent, small bit of public there.
Right. It depends. I don't know. There wasn't any book banning or anything on the agenda this week, so school board meetings ebb and flow by topics.
At least there were some people that are keeping track of it, and there was at least somebody there from her district.
Right.
That can be like, hey, we represent the same district, and what you're doing doesn't jive with what I see our constituents,
right?
Our constituents.
Yeah, which again, we could go back to our survey conversation at the beginning. It's that the political actors use their constituencies' feelings when appropriate and ignore them when they don't want to. Which is what I think. I truly think. Like, I need to call Betsy anyway. I need to do another interview with her that I'm allowed to use, because I'm not allowed to use the one that I did with her last time. I truly think she's going to make a run for mayor. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me about all this. That this is just politics games. This is just, I want to keep my name in the news and keep my name relevant, especially in Knox County, in a countywide race where conservatives
we got 2 more years, though?
Yeah.
Seems kind of early to keep your name in the news unless you've got something else in your back pocket for the next year and a half.
Well, she's on school board for another year and a half, too. Like, right. It lines up. The cycles are clear. They line up perfectly for cycle. But I mean, at the same time,
she can find something to go talk on at the state capitol again.
Right, but at the same time, Larson J., who's a county commissioner right now, has been. There was rumor that he was going to run for mayor in 23 for the city of Knoxville, and that ended up not happening. But as soon as he stated publicly that he wasn't running for city mayor against Kincannon, everybody was already assuming he was going to run for county mayor once Jacobs left. And so he's already started. He's got a campaign. He's got a website up. He's actually going to, I alluded earlier that I got a fun new Derby entry. He is going to come run a Derby car with us. And his campaign is paying for it. It is a campaign stop for him. And so in May of 2025, he is campaigning for an election in August of 2026. And he has a significant war chest to play with. Hell, I might be running against him anyway, so we'll see. I got time to make my decision. I could wait.
It's true.
But it's, for primary sake especially, like, if you get down to the primary part of it, to me, it's already an interesting matchup in the primary. Because the Republican conservative primary audience is probably going to lean Betsy. So he's going to have a hard time. I think if he can get through the primary, I mean, whoever gets through the primary on the Republicans is probably winning the seat. But it's really going to depend. I think Larson's chances increase if there is a better Democrat running, because then the Republicans get into the strategy of, well, we like this one better, but she might lose to that person might lose to a Democrat, where this person's a little bit more centered, so the Democrats aren't going to beat him or her. So to flesh out my theory in reality here, I think
I follow.
Okay, fine. Anyway,
no. Go for the listeners' sake. I didn't want you to think that I missed what you were saying.
Okay, so if it's just, which I think there's at least, I think I don't know. That'd be interesting. I think Eric Wyatter would run Betsy. Betsy would be it would be a Team Wyatter kind of player. But if he's not going to run Betsy, he's going to run somebody else, and that person's going to be further left or further right than Larson is. Larson's going to be the centrist candidate in the Republican primary, no matter how you slice it. If I run, I'm going to try to run as a Republican, and they're going to. I need to do it. Will you be my treasurer? It's not a lot of paperwork. Can you at least help me with the paperwork just a little bit?
I will not commit at this very moment, but I'll be happy to look over the ins and outs of it before I sign on. And,
all right, I'll get you. We'll get Chris Davis to come do a show, and then before the show, he'll walk you through all the requirements of being a treasurer, and then we'll do the show. I'll use his personal joy in coming and doing the show as a way to get you like a training seminar out of him at the time. Like I really for our old school Knoxville Democrat listeners, I'm trying to get Matt Shears and Randy Pace to come together to run me as a candidate. That's the future, people. We need to figure out how, because the reality is Matt and Randy as operators are fantastic, and as individuals they're probably a lot closer, like our survey talks about, than how politics is playing out in public right now. I'm curious how hard of an operator. I've not got to see. I have a feeling that Matt Shears is a little bit more of a hardcore operator when the scene is set correctly for him. He'll get. I bet you he gets a little mean behind the scenes. Not mean with people, but like he gets a little dirty,
down to business,
a little stabby. Yeah, it's a dirty business. You got to do it.
No, he gets down to business. I would say.
Yeah, but it's a dirty business, and he gets down to it when he has to.
It can be. Like, hey, here's the facts.
I'm calling you out, Matt. Come on here and come visit me and file my paperwork for me and tell me all about it. So apparently, like 20 schools. Apparently, my prediction was totally wrong. All the major private schools in Knox County have filed paperwork with the state to accept vouchers.
I saw a short list because they did it by like East Tennessee counties. I don't know, it's like 5 or 6, but
it's like 20 in Knox County.
Is it?
Yeah, like all the majors: CAK, Webb, Catholic, everybody else, like all the majors.
Right. How bad would it look if they publicly said no, we're not going to accept vouchers?
I don't think it'd look bad at all.
Really?
I think if you're the dean or whatever the title is of the person who runs the school, if you come out and say, look, we're fine. We don't need the money. We don't need more students. We certainly don't need the incursion of the state any more than they already are in what we're doing here. I'm not gonna. Why would we take this on? I think if you went to your parents, your student body's parents, and said, hey, look, we're not taking the vouchers. I think some people might try to get you, might try to sling some mud on that, but
that's always. I think it was an argument being made for vouchers. I felt like they were kind of like flipping the idea on, or back on the kind of anti-voucher kind of talking points of it being for the wealthy, to where the pro-voucher person that was kind of defending it more kind of put it in the argument of, well, all these rich people have the money to afford, and they like listed some famous politicians. Like, well, why should they be the only ones that can go to private schools? So you say, so private schools are only supposed to be for the wealthy, and higher education and good, quote unquote, good education is only there for the wealthy. Right,
which again continues down the rabbit hole.
I was like, wait, hold. I was like, I missed something here, but I swear he's like flipping the argument around where I don't get it. I see the point they were trying to make, and
I don't.
I guess I
don't see it at all. It's the.
Oh, they're basically just trying to flip the argument around of, like, you're just trying to keep good education out of people's hands, and you just want good education for the wealthy people.
Well, they should pay for it.
It's kind of like, no, what the vouchers are doing are subsidizing wealthy to go to private schools.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get people that know what they're doing. They could make it real confusing and
right. Or else I'm like, wait, how did I get to be the bad guy here?
I mean, I'll tell you what. Like, I don't remember who sent it to me. I think it might have been my libertarian, now liberal friend, who used to be the chair of the state Libertarian Party, but walked away from it. He sent me a link to that video, and it's a prominent, conservative thinker out of Nashville that made the argument like this makes zero sense. This makes zero sense to conservatives. It's the argument I was trying to make with Betsy when I was talking to her that you were a witness to. Yeah. It's like, I don't understand the conservative. There is no logical conservative point of view on this. And there's not. And so anyway, I can't reference that. I said it was off the record, so I'll leave it at that. What else we got, friend? I'm trying to remember the name now. Khalif, Columbia student who's been detained and sent down to New Orleans. That's what I was kind of hinting at in the UT segment. It makes, that's the craziest thing ever. That whole story is crazy.
It puts a question on free speech. Or the limits of free speech.
I don't think so.
I've heard some people in years past that were all this pro-free speech, and when they thought conservatives were getting, censored, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, no, this kind of speech should be censored, and free speech, doesn't have isn't fully."
I mean, I'll go back to I'm stuck on this one, and I wish I would do the numbers off the top of my head, but the joint resolution of the federal legislature of the new definition of anti-Semitism is the crazy, that in and of itself is the craziest thing ever to me.
When was that passed, sir, that you're talking about?
It was 2 or 3 years ago. It was after the October 7th attack. It was after this thing started, but
okay.
It's basically the per the definition of the federal government of the United States.
And defining what anti-Semitism was?
Right. And the definition of anti-Semitism includes anti-Israeli government speech. And technically speaking, I am anti-Semitic by the new definition because I've gone on the show numerous times about how I think Israel is being terrible with what they're doing right now, and I think it's a mistake. I think it's a long-term negative for the region and the world at large. I think we all lose long-term out of this. I think the U.S. government's involvement, and I could still never understand why we are so closely tied and care at all about Israel's existence. Other than, I guess it's our baby, we help make it, so we care that it stays alive. But technically speaking, I just made an anti-Semitic statement by the definition of the U.S. federal government. And the Trump administration says that it's a national security priority to combat anti-Semitism in the United States. If I were not a natural-born citizen, my statement I just made could get me deported.
It's possible.
Right.
You might actually get a hearing, though.
Right. Well, no, I can't get deported. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a natural-born U.S. citizen.
Right, but I think you can still have it stripped away for certain reasons.
They can't take my natural citizenship away. I'm a U.S. citizen, full stop. If I had a green card, they could take that away.
Right.
If I had a visa for whatever reason, if I was here on a visa for some reason, they could take my visa away. Which again,
I guess maybe I thought there was some extreme case where the government could be like, you know what, you're no longer a citizen.
I mean,
maybe if you just had dual citizen, they could revoke half of it.
I could be pulled up on some charges and get thrown in jail in some federal prison for my actions.
Right.
But I don't think I could be deported. Either way, the fact that the thing that I just said, the last 5 minutes of conversation, could theoretically get me imprisoned or deported is crazy.
Yeah.
And the fact that I just said it is kind of crazy too. That was stupid because I knew it when I said it. Not really.
Keep repeating yourself. Double down.
Well, whatever. There are a few hills I'm willing to die on, and that's one of them. That this is crazy. And this of all the stuff that I've been passive and what's my general right? When you get all upset about something Trump did, and I go and that pisses you off even more. If you had brought this one to me, I'm like, if you had introduced this one as Trump being ridiculous, I would be on board 1,000%. This is not an to me. This is a fucking problem, and this is scary, and it needs to stop. It really does.
I'm going to be a French farmer.
Yeah, that's what I make the reference all the time. That's what I should be doing. I should just be milling about my business, and I'm a white American. I'm going to be fine. What you looking at? Preds losing?
No, they don't play here for a little while longer.
No, they play tonight though. Who are they playing tonight?
Anaheim.
West Coast game. Who's playing it? Is it on?
I
know some of the Friday night games.
FanDuel and some other network.
That's crazy to me. I think that's a problem.
I saw one of the local Nashville stations, I guess, partnered with them to do, I guess, some bigger games to like simulcast on the local news stations.
Oh,
And I think they've been doing that here on like Channel 8. Have been doing some like high school football. And
I will say the Charles Barkley FanDuel commercials are the greatest commercials maybe on television right now. They're hilarious.
I don't know if I've seen them.
Look them up if you haven't. They are super funny. It's he has an Echo. He has an AI, like one of those, an Echo Dot or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? It's a Bluetooth speaker you kind of leave on your counter. You can be like, hey, Siri, whatever, that thing. But it's his head. And so he's like, and so it's Charles Barkley's AI assistant, basically, that is Charles Barkley. He's like, what's up, Charles GPT? And he's like, what's up? And it replies, what's up, Charles IRL? And he's like, what do you think of this parlay I just did? I think it's great, but I think you should use me for more important things. What does Charles Barkley need help with? Thousands of entries found. And then it starts listing stuff off. It's just perfectly funny every time. Like, it's really good self-deprecation humor because it makes fun of, like, apparently Charles Barkley says alumni really funny. And so, like, one of the things it says, like, things you need help with, how to pronounce alumni. Alumni, I don't know what he says. I don't know what he actually says. But anyway, it's great. They're great commercials. But I find it concerning. Like, I like to gamble. Don't get me wrong. I've been gambling for years. I find it a little problematic when the casino and the presenter are the same people.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's some there is openings for some bad action.
Man, I've definitely worried about the growth of it. I mean, seeing occasional stories pop up of like the estimated kind of like sports gambling debt that is out there, and how much money is being.
Sagar did a great monologue on it. Sagar is a big gambling hater. He hates gambling, period, full stop. He hates weed, too, full stop. But he did a good monologue on the gambling part of it that I thought was a very interesting take. It's like FanDuel, ESPN Bet, all the different major betting sites, which like 48, 49 states now allow some sort of sports betting. Most of the states that didn't have gambling prior have it only through these digital versions, like Tennessee does.
Right.
And there is no restrictions on how they're allowed to treat you as a customer. So if you have a FanDuel account and you're winning a lot, they can kick you off.
I've heard of sites kind of like slow rolling when people wanted to actually get cashed out. They're like, okay, well, that'll be 60 to 90 days to get that to
you. They do that kind of stuff. They do that. But like the idea is like if you're good, if you're a winner, they'll just cancel your account. They'll just stop your account. They'll pay you out because they owe you money. They'll pay your money. But you can't.
Congratulations, you won. Thanks for playing.
Right. Bye. Your account's been closed. You cannot gamble with us anymore.
A lot of them just kind of get you into it. It's like, hey, if you never played before, we get $100 free now for placing your first bet.
Right, and they do a lot of
what free money?
Yeah, they do all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's really gross what they're doing. Like again, I like gambling, I like betting on stuff, but like it is some junky shit that they're playing with right now. And the one to me, it's like forget the junky stuff. I take that back. Just the idea that if you're going to play the game. As the casino, as the bookie, whatever you want to call it in this game, if you're going to play the game, suck it up and pay your fucking losses. If you've got players that are winners, just pay them. The idea that you could kick them off because they're good, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's why they have all those like weird parlays because it gives the house a few more reasons.
Parlays
to
are
win.
impossible.
Sorry, not even the parlays, just like the weird little prop bets that they add in.
Yeah, there's all sorts of. There's also like I mean, again, it's like one of the things my dad taught me when I was a kid. It's like when you go to Vegas, you'll go to Vegas at some point in your life. I still haven't been, but when you go to Vegas at some point in your life, you look around that city. Idiots that go in there and gamble built those buildings.
Yep.
And it's like if you've ever been to Vegas, which I haven't, but I've seen pictures and I've talked to people that have been. There's some amazing buildings.
Oh, yeah.
They're gorgeous, beautiful, opulent. The hotel rooms are amazing. All the things are nice. Gold this, silver that, bright and shiny, all the lights and all that kind of stuff. Losers built Vegas. People losing their money built that place.
Oh, yeah.
So
and the mop.
Right. As a way to launder money.
Exactly. And make more money.
Right. And so it's like if you could keep that mindset when you go and gamble, then you're fine. Go have a good time. Have a good weekend. Do whatever you want to do. but don't think you're going to go there and make money.
Right.
You're going to lose. That's what it's designed to do. If you can have fun losing, don't lose too much. Have a good time. And like that, like my dad's got a handful of lessons that I've learned, and that's one of the top ones. And I've had some spots. I've had some times when I had some problems with gambling, and I've had to put myself in check, and got myself in a little bit of trouble and had to dig my way out. But it is what it is, I suppose.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. And I'm not sure what exactly part of it, but part of like the Texas State Lottery. I think they were getting ready to shut it down because apparently there was some like inside like shit that was going on.
Yeah.
I guess some of the winners were somehow getting picked. I don't know if it was like kind of a pick three, kind of like Powerball type lottery, but I guess they found that I think it was like, inside like the department that was kind of like running it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they were getting ready to like shut down part of their lottery.
I mean, I don't know. Like again, I'm if it's me, if I were the czar of Tennessee or whatever you want to call it, I would allow gambling in Tennessee. But the only rules I would kind of have in place on it is you can't let people. You're not allowed to let people play on debt. They have to have the money to play, and you're not allowed to not let people play. If somebody has money, you have to let them play. If they're a winner, if they're coming in there and they know how to play blackjack and they are kicking your ass over and over and over again, deal with it. If you can't deal with that, shut down.
Have you seen videos of just like weird like live blackjack that you can like play like online? Which I wouldn't trust it, but I guess you can like Zoom call in like your blackjack, and it's just got just like one dealer. You see like a room of like 4 or 5 other people just standing at a table.
I mean, there's a ton of
you're just doing like online
there,
online blackjack.
I mean, I may or may not still use a black market bookie, and he may or may not use a black market website that that administers his stuff, and that website may or may not include some online casino stuff where you can play slots and shit like that. It's like, fuck that, no way.
Yeah. I see videos that are weird. It's like people like live streaming them just going to the casino and they're like, "Oh, we're going to spend $100,000," and they're just like playing different slots, playing different like random shit. And they're like, "Oh," which I'm not even sure if you can like live stream. I guess you could be like, "Hey, everybody," sitting down at a roulette table. I don't know if you can take numbers of what other people bet. If that's essentially kind of placing a bet of somebody else, or you can just play it off as I was just taking suggestions from a friend.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're betting their money remotely, I think that's illegal. I don't think you're like if like the idea like if you went to Vegas, I said put 20 on black for me, and I gave you a $20.
Right, I think that's something different. But I mean, as far as like taking suggestions, I guess that wouldn't.
Yeah, if it's not if the person in North Dakota where gambling's illegal says, I'm going to send you $100 to put on this for me.
I've seen people getting busted for that.
Yeah,
where they were playing with other people's money, quote unquote. Allegedly.
Yeah, I know that's against the casino rules and stuff like that too. So if it's not outright illegal, but I don't know, whatever. Like I just like
I've worried about it. As many people that are in debt and just the rise of sports betting.
Yeah, I mean, I see the thing to me is like I don't think
people are addicted. I mean that
I'm not saying they're not, but those same people, I would bet we're betting anyway.
Very possibly, yeah.
Like, it's not hard. If you want to go find a bookie, I could find you 50 tonight.
All right, this makes it just a little bit easier.
It does it,
notifications.
But you've got, your
bookie's not going to be calling you all the time. Like,
you're right.
Hey, you about to play best? You want to place a bet? There's a game here in 30 minutes.
But your bookie will let you put $100 on something that you don't have, where these sites won't. You've got to at least put the money up. Now, you could run up debt on your credit card.
That's what I was about to say. Can you use a credit card?
Right.
That's essentially the same thing.
You're putting it on a credit card. But, at some point you max the card out, it won't work anymore.
Right.
There's a whole subset of issues with credit card companies and their willingness to give you more credit that you don't deserve. Whether it's your card you already have, like, oh, I just need a little bit more. Or going out and applying and getting a new credit card when you've got 5 that are maxed out already and these credit card companies still giving you one.
That'd be crazy when they start having their own credit services.
I wouldn't be surprised. I agree. I agree with that noise you just made too.
I want to say there's been, I don't know if it's still in the court system, but I think there were some states that were suing like game manufacturers and kind of like gaming companies for kind of that similar thing of kind of proving that, especially like for kids, of having like these like little token and kind of pay to play things it's been purported as being really addictive, and I think you obviously see it. I'm sure you've had your kids be like, hey, can I get $10 so I can buy like the new basket? Like I remember years ago it was like Smurfs that one of our kids racked up like a couple $100 of just like buying berries or whatever so they could get some kind of skill or bullshit thing.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, a lot of the, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Most of the games are free to play.
Right, and there's a reason they're free, is because they ended up getting you, because I've had it on certain games where, you know, on like Angry Birds. I've never put money into it, but there's been like levels I've gotten to where I've definitely got the feeling like, I think they're almost making me like want to spend $10 to get this thing just so I can pass this level.
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Or it's chock full of ads for other games or other things that are annoying, and it's like, well, if you want to do it without ads,
right? But I've seen it in games where like you almost have to spend money to get, you know, whatever kind of skill to be halfway decent on a game.
And I feel old right now because I can't think of the word that the kids call it. There's pay to win games, and that's a phrase amongst like young gamers. It's like, yeah, that game's kind of cool, but it's a pay to win.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I mean, there's some of this shifted over time. Like I've made the complaint about Office, like a lot of stuff that's digital, computer based stuff. Like the idea that I have to have a subscription to Office. I use the same Excel. I use the same functions in Excel that I've used for 10 fucking years. I don't do anything new. Any of the new updates don't do anything nice for me. I don't care. I don't want any of them.
Right.
I just want Excel because I'm comfortable with the format.
It's just licensing for their product.
And I have to pay $100 a year for access to Excel.
Otherwise, they make no money if it's just a one-time free thing.
Well, that's your consequence. So you keep making good products. Make another new good product, and I'll buy that one. Don't just say, oh, well, we made the one thing we need. Or make something that makes sense. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. There's some AI stuff that they're rolling in. I'm still trying to figure out if any of that works for me. I need to just get on board, I guess. I mean, let's get down to the brass tacks of it. AI is the end. It's the end-all, be-all. Either you're on board, you know how to work with it, or you're getting eaten alive by it.
I tried to ask my phone a question a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I was mumbling or maybe I was slurring, but
you absolutely were. I guarantee you were. I know you. I love you, man.
It's very possible. And I was just like, why is the sky blue? And it just couldn't tell me anything. And I'm like, damn it. I was arguing with my roommate. And I was finally able to convince him later because he was under the impression that the sky is blue because light bounces off the ocean. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, no, man, that's not true at all. And I was like, hey, I don't want to say the bitch's name because I don't talk to her unless I have to.
Well, she's listening.
I was like,
she's listening anyway.
That's true.
You should talk nice about him when you do.
Well, I was like, why is the sky blue? And I think it comes up like the Dunning-Kruger effect or something like that. It has to do with like molecules and refraction.
Right. Which is so weird because if you were up at 3 o'clock this morning and watching the moon, it was red.
The eclipse overnight?
Mm-hmm. And it was red because the light that was hitting the moon and reflecting back was going through the atmosphere on the way there. Like the light's always coming off the moon here, and it's white. But if it goes through the atmosphere, hits the moon, and comes back, I don't know, whatever the other light waves are absorbed by the atmosphere and comes back as just red.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was a full blood moon eclipse last night, which this jackass dog woke me up at 2 o'clock to take him out to go to the bathroom, and I was too groggy to bother looking up, and I missed it.
I knew it was coming up. I forgot it was last night.
Also, beware the Ides of March, my friends. It's upon us today.
It's Friday the 13th, too, isn't it?
No, it's Friday the 14th. Ides of March, Saturday the 15th. So if you're a ruthless dictator, you might get murdered today.
Beware. Beware.
Caesar. Yeah, anyway, so that's the local set that I can think of right now. I've got my Dolly story, Betsy Stadium parking.
Did you see that former Tennessee lawmaker that got a pardon recently?
No. Tell me about it.
That was a guy that got removed from the state house. I can't remember his name. He got removed from the state house for misspending campaign funds, basically. I think it had to do with while he was in the house, he was like trying to run for like Congress. It was apparently misusing funds. But at some point he pled guilty and then recently tried to take back that guilty plea because I guess his co-defendant had already pled guilty and I guess was providing evidence for the state at that time.
Oh,
at one point he had pled guilty, but then tried to rescind his guilty plea, which was funny. I read that a little bit where the judge was deciding over his inability to be able to rescind his guilty plea because apparently this guy has a law degree and had been, in the state house for a while. Thought the judge put it pretty well of like, you're an experienced attorney. Like there's no way that you didn't know. Because I think he tried to say that he didn't know the consequences of pleading guilty at that time. It's like, no, motherfucker, you went to law school. You know the law. Mm-hmm. You can't say that you weren't advised as the repercussions of pleading guilty at that time.
Yeah, it seems unlikely that you can play that card, friend.
Yeah. But I guess his name fell upon Trump's ears, so he recently got a pardon. After, I think he spent like a month in jail. Like he just got sentenced to like 22 months or something like that, a couple years. He spent about a month in jail. And
at least got some time for it, I guess.
He's now free and no record. He's no longer a disgraced lawmaker.
Yeah, I mean, you could take it off the state's paperwork, but everybody still knows you're a fucking dickhead. I would think.
I don't know. He tried to play the...
Well, I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about last week. Like,
that was just politically motivated thing. It's like, no, like you misspent your campaign funds.
You clearly violated the statute that says you have to spend campaign money on campaign shit.
All right. This wasn't a political bullshit. Anyway, sorry.
No sorries at all.
It's a witch hunt.
It is a witch hunt.
That's why they were after me.
Right. All these fucking liberals in Tennessee were coming after you. Come on, man. Shut up. Don't be stupid. Yeah. Like, you've got to be so bad at it that the other Republicans have to do something about it in Tennessee.
I remember seeing a little bit, because it happened like a couple of years ago, is when I think he initially got in trouble for it or whatever. I don't know if he actually got expelled from the House or if he had resigned. I don't remember exactly.
So Tennessee House or federal House?
Tennessee House.
You're not even making any money. I guess it makes sense why you'd miss it. Like, that's my problem right now. Like, so,
but I think he had announced a congressional run. I think that's where he took money from, was his national Congress run, maybe.
But either way, like,
he took from one fund, basically.
Right. The problem I'm having though is that it's like you're not making any money as a state rep. Like, there is no money in being a senator. Like, it's like $17,000 a year. It's like nothing. Like, you have to have money to be a state senator,
right,
in Tennessee, or a state rep in Tennessee. So, like, part of me like can't blame him for kind of, I don't know the full backstory, but like, you got bills to pay, and I'm a state senator from Tennessee. I make no money, and I got to have something else going on to pay the bills. Because that's my problem right now, is because I might be losing my job this year because of state law, and like the functional thing I want to do is run for state senate or state house. I don't want to take Becky's seat. I want to take Elaine's seat. But I can't afford that. Like, if I lose, like, it literally, like, depending on how much I lose this year, depending on how state law rolls out, I can't afford to be a state senator and pay my bills.
Right.
I need to run for mayor. That's my only real option. You run for mayor. I need to run for property assessor, county clerk. Maybe that's the seat. Is county clerk up this time? I need to look that up.
No idea. Probably going up against a wit, though.
It's fine. I'll take it. I'll take you on, Sherry. I ain't scared of you. Well, it's because, I mean, what's been happening as of late, Briggs is the new entry in it. Biggs. Justin Biggs is the new entry in the game, but it's, generally speaking, it's been kind of a rotation. They're who's the property assessor?
Is it Hammond, maybe? Mike Hammond?
No, Mike Hammond's a county clerk, or is a court clerk now.
Okay.
He might be running for mayor. Was that... there's rumor what he's running for next. I don't remember. County clerk's, court clerk's not a bad one either. I think it's 6 figures, but it's not as much as the other ones. Property assessor, county clerk, and register of deeds. That's county clerk or property assessor's Biggs. Register of deeds is the other one. They just kind of rotate back and forth because it's a 2 consecutive term limit. It's not a 2-term limit. Okay. I did hear that Jimmy's coming back for running for sheriff next year too.
He's going to get re-elected. I wonder what the signs will say this time.
I mean, it's still going to be re-elected. He's going to reuse the same size. You know what? He's being environmentally conscious and not wasteful.
I can reuse the same signs.
I mean, it's because it's not untrue. It's just functionally not really true.
Right.
It's half true. And that's fully true. I don't know. It's funny, is what it is. That's all there is to say about that.
I'm blanking on his name. His kids went to our high school. I wonder why that sheriff hasn't tried to come back and run with these past two guys that kind of keep trading spots.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to guess that this is the end of Spangler.
Probably.
He's probably not going to run again.
Yeah.
He's not going to wait a term and then run after everything that's gone on.
Doubt it. Blanking on his name.
Yeah, you got me, buddy. I don't remember half
He was the one that was involved in. There was like some helicopters back in like the late '90s, or early aughts. I think it had been after 9/11 because I think it had to do with like federal money that was spent. Apparently, we bought like 4 or 5 helicopters, and they're like, "Wait, what'd you buy helicopters for?"
For parades, they're great. 4th of July parade, the very good 4th of July parade in Knox County.
Well, I think at that time they were doing their seasonal, like flying around looking for like grow operations and shit. Yeah, and they could use it for other means, but I think it was very rarely used.
Yeah, for sure.
Assets. But
I did take my my alcohol server training class this week.
Nice,
as required.
Learn anything new?
No, I learned that the guy teaching the class didn't want to teach the class. Didn't care to be there.
It's always fun.
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, and I won't say his name, but the officer that normally does it is on vacation, which is fair. And they have basically shrunk that department down to one person. And so that one person is on vacation.
Wow.
And so this guy who's attended the class twice and is on the last 45 days of an entire career is trying to teach the class.
Right.
And I don't know how to describe how much he didn't give a shit about what he was doing. I was the only person that spoke up and corrected him twice.
Oh, that's tough.
And then like 3 more things that I knew he wasn't wrong on. He just wasn't complete in his definitions or explanations for. I kept my mouth shut because I was adding time to the class that he wanted to end sooner than later. But like, I don't know. It's fair. Like, I don't know. I'm not mad at him. I don't blame him. It is literally, he was 100% honest. It's not his fault. The class is literally just a random $50 money suck from people who want to sell alcohol in Knoxville. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just a piece of red tape. You don't learn anything really. Like once you've done it once, it doesn't change. But even if you've done it once, it's most stuff that's pretty common sense. Because it's supposed to be about the legal stuff.
Right. But I wonder how many people it's like their first class. I'd say there's a good number of people.
Most of our class was. Like, most of our class was. Like, I was, like, there was a couple different people that I talked to, a couple different, during a break and after class, and I was like, the first time I spoke up, I was like, this is like the 14th time I've taken this class. And, like, we were talking about fake IDs. I've told this story, I think, on the show before, speaking of people we went to high school with. When I was doing the door once when I was working on the strip, Dustin Colquitt and Britton Colquitt were both at Dustin was in the NFL at that point. Britton comes up to the door and hands me Dustin's ID. I'm like, hey, Britton, why do you have your brother's ID? He's like, no, I'm Dustin. I was like, no, you're not. Your brother's you're in Kansas City. You're not in Knoxville right now. What are you doing? He's like, no, I'm Dustin. I was like, no, you're not. A, I know you and I know your brother, but B, you're clearly Britain. Go away.
Right.
I did tell that story to the class. We were talking about fake IDs and stuff like that. But like one of the things that bothered me so legally speaking, like true law, if you came to me and you present me with a fake ID, I'm allowed to keep it. If it's fake. If I keep it and it's real, I'm stealing your shit. And the way he described that was very poor for the class. Because he's like, if you keep a fake ID or whatever, you can call us and we'll come pick him up. And it's like, yeah, hold on a second. Like this is one of the ones I didn't interject on because I didn't want to be that guy. But it's like, let's be clear about what we're saying here. If you're wrong, you've stolen that person's property.
Right. State property.
Right. If you're right, then they have to admit to a crime to get their property back. Either way, you're stealing that person's property, legally speaking. It's your piece of paper. It's your little plastic card. Whatever it is, it's yours. And if I take it and refuse to give it back to you, I'm stealing that from you. That is theft.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to try to get your thing back from me, and the thing that I stole from you is criminal that you have, it's a bad move on your part. But I still technically stole it from you. That's like, because our rule is like, I don't care if you know it's fake. I don't care if you turn it over and it's a Kroger card in the back. You give it back to them. Tell them not to come back in here with their bullshit.
Right.
And it's like, what? Well, you know it's fake. You're supposed to keep it. It's like, you're not supposed to do anything. You can. And that's supposed to be as like a favor to other places so this person doesn't try to use your fake on them anymore. Right. That was the other story I told in the class too. It's like when I was still working on campus, the popular thing to do for kids was there was a company that you could order a sticker from, and it was a a gimmick or whatever. Like it was, it's a spoof sticker, and it's literally it's a sticker of an ID that's ID size, but it was a sticker, so it was not an ID, obviously.
Right.
But the point was that you would buy the sticker and then you would stick it on a card that was ID, that felt like an ID.
Right.
And then, and I remember specifically somebody coming, because one of the things I was taught when checking IDs was to check the back. And so I turned it over, and this idiot student at UT had put his sticker on a Kroger card, but he didn't think about it and put the Kroger logo facing out. So it wasn't like the barcode swipe side of the Kroger card. It was the Kroger.
Right.
And I was like,
Kroger valued customer.
And I was like, yeah, friend, you can go away.
Yeah.
And I did keep that one, but that was, Charlie said we were supposed to keep them when I was working there. And so I did, and I turned it in the manager at the end of the night. We laughed about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's part of the process. I've got to do my ABC class separately because they're no longer combined. They used to both count. They used to count for the same thing. Now I have to take an ABC class from an independent party or the state as part of this process to get my beer permit for Hollowbrook.
Nice.
So we're going to get, because that's what I got to go speak on. And, assuming I can get the votes, I'm good to go. I think I can get the votes. I hope I can get the votes.
I think it'll happen.
I don't know. It's weird. People are weird.
That's true.
Like, I think, I'd like my concern, like some of my concerns on it. I'm a little worried about Roberto. And I understand his not stance per se, but I understand where it might be a little sticky for him personally. If we recall, his daughter died about a year ago now in a DUI accident. And so I could see him being a little bit stickerly about anything alcohol related. I can respect that. Seema's gone back and forth on a couple of different alcohol things around town. Sometimes being okay with it. She's not a teetotaler per se, but she is an abstinence from alcohol advocate. She would like people to quit drinking as much as they do.
Right.
And so to make it, quote, more accessible might be an off for her. So I've been trying to reach out and talk to these different people beforehand. Everybody's ignoring me. It's kind of hurting my feelings. I've emailed every city councilor, and the only email I got back was from Tommy and Lauren, who I've been working with on the project.
Yeah.
I am excited that I can finally say it out loud. I've been working on this for a while, and I've been hinting and insinuating different things for a time. And so it is on the agenda. It is happening. If you have a particular feeling about this, reach out and tell your city councilor. Or come speak in the pro side with me, or come speak in the anti side if you want to. I'm curious how people would see a negative to what I'm trying to do.
I do too.
You got one? You want to take the devil's advocate against my ordinance change?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say this. Well, just for the conversation's sake, the ordinance change is a couple of different chunks of alcohol stuff in Knoxville proper. Number one is there's a whole bunch of overlapping stuff and repeating stuff that's been on the books for years. For example, I can't remember exactly the verbiage of it, but like the city of Knoxville at large with private events, if it's on private property, but you want to get a special event that is in your own patio, like extending your own patio or in your own parking lot kind of thing, you've always been able to do that. But on Cumberland proper, it has to touch your building. And so, like what a lot of the Mexican places do on Cinco is they'll put a tent out in the parking lot. If it's on Cumberland, it has to touch the building. It can't be a separate tent. Does that make sense?
It has to somehow be affixed to it.
Not affixed to it, but like there's no gap
up against it.
There's no gap between the two in the sense that you're not leaving the building, going through a public area, and then going back into a private area that's in the parking lot.
Right. It
has to be one continuous space. Where the Mexican places that are out in different parts of the city that want to do it, they can put a tent up in the back corner of their parking lot and do their Cinco event, but it could be separated from their main restaurant. But on
as long
Cumberland,
as they're not keeping the intermingling up.
On Cumberland, they have to be connected, which I don't know a place on Cumberland that's left that it would even logically apply to.
Right.
Because nobody's left that has nobody has an attached parking lot anymore that I can think of.
None of them have around back either.
Mm-mm. Everything's been gobbled up by these tower buildings that they're putting in.
Yeah.
So either way, that's part one of the adjustment to the current ordinance is to take these two completely parallel rules and condense them into one that then has except for Cumberland Avenue's district, it must be adjoined to the building. And so that seems just like it's a cleaning exercise is what that part is. And so the part that involves me is it takes the designation of different city parks and different city streets and says with the proper permitting, the proper paperwork, the proper insurance, and all the different proper things that you need to do to put on a special event, you can get a special event beer permit for that space on city property anywhere in the city. And so basically what it's doing is it's taking the current ordinance that says the only streets that you can do it on are Gay Street, Jackson, and Central in the Old City. That's literally the only streets that you could shut down for a special event and serve alcohol. Any street in Knoxville that isn't a state road, you can shut down for a special event. You just can't serve alcohol on it, regardless.
Right.
And so that's literally what it's doing is just taking out that designation that only those two places are allowed to do it and lets everybody do it if they want to. And the thing that I want to make clear to anybody listening who might actually care about this is it is difficult to put on a special event. Period. Don't think that this ordinance passing is going to turn around and be that every weekend parts of the city are going to be shut down for a boozing event. That's not how this is going to play out.
But it's possible.
It's possible. But part two of this, at the end of the day, the special events office can refuse any and all special event requests they want. Mm-hmm. So if it gets to a point where you feel like it's excessive, we can go to the special events office and you can ask them to dial it back. They have the right to refuse any special event request they want. And so, that's the thing. And the other thing kind of snuck in the side of this that is not snuck in. That's not a good word. That in the exact interpretation of languages is this opens it up for a block a neighborhood block party too. If you want to do a block party in your neighborhood and you're in the city limits of Knoxville, you would put on a special event block party,
right?
And everything would fall into the same conversation. It's a neighborhood. It's a residential district. You can do it. One of the things that I know is a side project that's being discussed is trying to clean up some of the issues with special events, in that one of the things that's a problem with special events right now is there's no obligation for the promoter of a special event to have any involvement from the neighbor. Like my Holaroo event, everybody in the neighborhood's on board. We're doing it together. It's a big deal. I theoretically could do this without any of their information, any of their acknowledgement, or any of their agreement to it. I could shut down the road in front of their business, and they can't say anything if they don't know about it and go out and stop it personally.
Right.
I'm not obliged to inform them that I'm shutting access to their business down for the day. That's something that's being discussed separately because it's a separate thing on special events which I think, like, I've done it anyway. Every event that I've done,
Right.
I go.
You would say it's kind of customary, but I would almost kind of want that in writing as a
Right.
as
It's
a
fair.
neighboring business. Yeah. At least
But
some
I've gone
kind
and
of
I've
like
knocked
1 week
and
heads up.
I've involved all of them. I think inversely, I think there's a line there too, is that one person can't shut it down for everybody. That's not fair either.
Right.
But like, you know, like I go, there's a couple of actual homes on the street that I end up shutting down, and I go and talk to them and let them know the timing of it and be like, hey, you know, if you need to, make sure you don't park in your driveway. There's only one house whose driveway comes out exclusively onto Central. Most of them have an alley. There's only one house, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, we're doing this day. If you need to get out, I'm around day of. Find me, find somebody that's working, have them call me. I will come up here and I'll escort you and your car out if you need to get your car out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to be stuck in your home if you have stuff to do because I'm putting my event on. However, it'd be cool if you parked around the corner for the night before, so you didn't have to. So if you needed to get out and do stuff, you could get out and do stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, most of the neighbors are out on their front porch drinking beer, laughing at us and yelling and screaming and having a good time as part of the event so far. So anyway, that's the ordinance in a nutshell. Is it's basically the original carve outs for Gay Street and the Old City worked. I want the opportunity to let them work for me. That's all this ordinance is to me. This goes for Sevier Avenue too. Sevier Avenue is getting screwed right now because of the stupid Gay Street Bridge problems.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of anybody out on Sevier Avenue who wants to put on an event and needs some help with it, let me know. I will sell you my services for cheap because I need money and I love putting on events. They're fun.
He's in the little car.
But we can shut down Sevier Avenue and do a block party, and I will help with it 100% because I think it's important. I think it's needed. I think especially with some of the problems that Sevier is going to have because of the bridge situation, it's fair to support them in this time. Even though the two of the building owners down there are assholes, maybe I don't want to help. I don't know.
You grabbed another.
Do you really want to do a months-long process again?
Yeah, you grabbed.
I mean,
Make it worth it.
Well, the thing is like I would be on Sevier Avenue right now if these two landlords didn't say no to my business. I'd look the building that Highwire's in. Have you been down to the Highwire brewery place on there?
No.
It's not a brewery; it's their tap room. Whatever. It's a cool room. It's a very cool room. They have soccer pool. Have you ever played soccer pool?
I've seen it.
Or soccer billiards, maybe. Might be the right term.
I've seen it, but never played.
Yeah, they have like 3 of them or 4 of them on the floor in the tap room.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you can kick soccer balls in a billiard format. I think really great room. So when that building was getting refurbished and redeveloped and all the stuff to do that, and they were under construction, I was working for Littman at the time. The only reason I knew it was happening was because I was working for Littman, because Highwire is one of the Littman brands. And so I was down there. I made a point to drive down through there, and this was before it was as things were starting to come up. It's when Trader Joe's was down there, not Trader Joe's, Uncle Lem's was down there. There was a little bit of stuff down there, but it wasn't quite full yet. But you could see that some of the stuff was starting to happen. And so the building that Highwire's in had a big sign on the front, said, coming soon, for lease, call this number. Called that guy. I'm like, hey, man, what's the word? What are you building out here? What's some of the square footage you're working with? I mean, honestly, if I could get away with it, I'd only do so much square feet. But I understand that, it's going to be more than that. What are you going to be breaking this thing down to? And he breaks it down. He tells me some of the ideas and some of the plans they have, and they're working on it, and they're about 6-9 months out. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm very interested. I would like to get a little bit further on in this process. What do you think? He's like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a vape shop dispensary. This is vape. Actually, this was before dispensary was even really part of our title. This is right when we were starting to get into CBD creams and stuff like that. None of the stuff in the dispensary realm that we're doing now. And he's like, okay, cool. Let me talk to some of the owners and the investors and the different people that are involved, and I'll get back to you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I followed up with him like 2 or 3 days later. He's like, yeah, listen, man. Let me back that up a second. When I was talking to him, I was like, yeah, he said he's got a buddy of his that owns a place somewhere around the corner or something like that. Not close enough to it would be a competitor, but close enough that it was a logical reference. he waits a couple days. I call him back. He says, "Yeah, we're good. We don't really want one of those in our building." I said, "Okay, no problem. You do you. No worries." And then there was another building on the other end of Sevier. Basically, the same story happened. Talked to the guy that was repping the property for the manager for the property, and said, "Hey, I'm interested in putting a business in down here. What do you have available? What's going on with it?" He's like, "We're doing a new facade on the building, but once the new facade comes out, we'll have these properties available. Here's the sizes." It's like, "Yeah, that one that's that size sounds perfect for me. How much? What are we talking about? Blah blah blah. What's the monthly?" And he says, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, this is what we do." And he says, "Okay, let me talk to the people, and we'll get back to you." I was like, "Okay." I call him back a couple days later. He's like, "No, we don't want you in here." It's like, "Okay, cool story. See you later."
Yeah.
So if there would be, I would be down there selling all the cool stuff that I sell on Sevier, and we would be doing well down there. But the landlords down there are dicks. So maybe I don't want to help them.
Just second thought. Second guessed it.
Yep. I thought about it. Screw you guys. I hope that bridge falls on you. No, I don't. I'm kidding. I don't want that bridge to fall on anybody. So anyway, that was a random dive into the history of my attempts to open businesses in Sevier on Sevier Avenue. What do you got? What's going on? What's new?
Well, I think I just saw it. I think a story came out today talking about that bridge, but then also they were still going forward with, and I think you mentioned it before, that the city was still going to be going forward with the pedestrian bridge linking UT and South Knoxville.
Yep.
I think you'd said that they were probably going to go ahead and start doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to at this point. There's nothing telling them they're not getting the money.
That guy down there, he's
I don't know. I think it's a waste of money. I would be pissed off. I'm pissed off that taxes that I collect on behalf of and money that I pay to the city to do the different things that I pay to the city are going to, even a penny of it is going to go to that. If UT wants it, they can build it. State can build it, which is also my tax money, which pisses me off, but it's a different person I'm pissed off at.
Yeah.
It's not. I cannot for the life of me figure out the positive to it. Like if they're going to build a bridge, a real bridge that came out of that same spot and went over that same area, I'm down with that. That makes sense. South Knox, connection to South Knox is a problem. Like I lived in South Knox for a while, just in case I didn't tell that to everybody before. Right. I lived down there, and it is a different place. It is not Knoxville. It is South Knoxville.
Well, it was really bad. How long was the Henley Street Bridge being replaced?
It took a minute.
Yeah.
But it's a different place, and that's fine. And if we want to try to make it part of the city, it needs to be accessible. Yeah. And walking, I mean, how wide is the river down there? Like we're talking about people walking a half a mile being too long a walk to park to go to a baseball game.
Or at least a quarter mile.
I would think that's at least, yeah. And that's from bank to bank.
Right.
Not counting the stairs or the ramps that you have to go up to get high enough, because it's going to be a high enough bridge that the barges and stuff that run down the river can get under it.
Right.
I mean, I think the minimum is probably like 20 feet off the river surface. At least. It's probably more like 40 or 50 feet.
Yeah, probably something.
I mean, Gay Street's like 100, right?
I'm not sure.
It's up there. It's it's way up above the water.
All right, but it's also trying to link higher elevation land.
Right. True. But either way, but I mean, still, you go down the Alcoa Bridge, that's like 30 feet above
yeah.
That's a 30 feet minimum clearance on the water level. You get, you continue down west on the river. The next bridge is Pillsbury Parkway. That's like a 30-foot bridge, maybe a 50-foot bridge at least. Like if you go
where North Shore goes over it, it's not that tall though.
North Shore doesn't go over it.
There's a couple of bridges once you pass. It's like Concord Road in that area.
Yeah, but that's not. But you're not crossing the river. You're crossing some of the little side inlet bullshit.
Okay, I thought it switched back.
Yeah, no, the river stays, like when you're on North Shore, the river stays on the left side of the road.
Right.
And you cross some of those little bridges, and there are some bridges that clear that boats can go under and stuff like that, but that's all just little inlets into little Farragut's and this, that, and the other. The river continues down there on the left of North Shore until you get out to the dam in the North City. There is no crossing. You can't cross the river proper past Pillsbury until you get to Lenore City and drive across the dam.
Yeah, right.
I'm driving. Where do you want me to go?
And so from the dam down there in Lenore City to, as far as I can think of, I think the minimum clearance is 30 feet.
That makes sense.
So anyway, going back to the point, is we're looking at least a half a mile of walking to get across that bridge. Assuming that you start right at the base of the bridge and finish right at the other base of the bridge, not thinking you have to go to a building here or a building there or whatever. And that's too far to walk in for a baseball game. What are we talking about? Like, I really feel like it's just not going to get used.
Maybe that is
much.
part of it. Maybe that's expanding the parking for that whole new like entertainment district they want to do there by Nayland.
Burn that motherfucker. That's a whole separate thing that drives me crazy.
I mean, if the perception is there's a parking need downtown. I mean, again, want to have businesses on that south side anyway, but
well, sure, but I mean, I can't imagine but again, if the point is that driving or is that walking a half a mile or a mile to a baseball game is too far, walking it's the same theory.
Maybe they'll bring the little scooters back.
I hate those. They're not back. They're here. They're here in those lime scooters.
I thought the companies took most of them away.
Now they end up all over the holler all the time.
Right. I've seen a lot of cities that find them they're all constantly pulling them out of the river and all sorts of places of people just dumping them left and right.
Which I think is crazy because there's got to be I guess you could just pick it up when it's dead and take it, but yeah,
that's what they do. There's a big utility van that drives around and picks up. I guess it gets a signal that says that battery's dead. Same one that's sending a GPS signal. So they know where it is.
I figure there's got to be a way to do some sort of identifier who's throwing it in the river.
I mean, you could find the last person that used it, but that's not I don't know if that's necessarily a probable cause. Because you could leave it somewhere and somebody else just come along
later.
Right. Somebody be like, "Is that one of those scooters?" Oh, I'm heading down towards the river.
Right.
Fuck it, I'm going to throw it.
Maybe I am okay with the CCTV all over Knoxville then, because then we could track these scooter bandits.
What? Oh.
Because I care about Lime's profit margins.
Is that one of the companies?
Yeah, that's what always ends up in the holler. At least it's Lime scooters.
Yeah,
and they're always on their side. Nobody ever bothers leaving them standing up, or maybe people come over and kick them over. I don't know. I don't really care if they end up in the river. That's your own fault.
I've never been on one, but I think I would sure as hell stay on the sidewalk as much as I could.
I don't know. You get down in some of that downtown stuff, it's fine. I've been
parts of it, but I'd always see them right there. I guess where right before Broadway turns into Henley Street and everything. That kind of main kind of area of downtown, right by the convention center.
Yeah, traffic's never moving that well anyway, so it's not like you're in speed.
Yeah, but it's fucking crazy. There's 3-4 lanes on either side. And on one side, you've got 2 lanes that are people.
Well, it's when they're dickheads and they can't figure out if they're pedestrians or they're motor vehicles, which is a problem.
Right.
That's one of the things I think we need to have some conversation about in the public. It's
that's why I want to see bicyclists, and I'm like, hey, if you're in the road, you still abide by traffic laws.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't run a red light just because you're on a bicycle.
Oh, I'm a pedestrian now.
Right.
Okay, well, no. It's just if somebody hits you, then I don't know. It's not a fair argument.
Right. The little crosswalk picture has a picture of a person walking, not a person on a bicycle.
Exactly. I don't think that's fair at all. I think that's rude and ought not be permitted. Going back to North Shore, that's the worst. Get on there in North Shore, and there's just bikers.
Yeah.
10 of them, too. So it's they're all in line. And it's okay, well, cool, you're trying to stay over the edge, but I have to go in the other lane to pass you. And I can't pass you, all 10 of you, that fast.
Yeah.
You're not going as fast as I can go, but it takes me a second to get past all of you guys, and there's no way that there's going to be enough clearance in traffic coming the other way that I'm going to be able to pass you. So I'm just going to hit here and cruise at 20.
I think by law, you're supposed to give them 3 feet.
Right, and there's no shoulder when you get out there on North Shore. Or in a lot of these roads in Knoxville. But anyway.
Maybe it'll increase the availability of bike lanes. Doubtful.
Yeah, well, the fucking North Shore needs a whole other 2 lanes of traffic.
It's definitely getting worse and worse.
North Shore needs 2 lanes of traffic all the way across it. If they can do that and add a bike lane, awesome.
I looked at a lot of parts. You look at it's where are you going to add 2 more lanes?
You're not. At minimum, they need to have a suicide lane through a lot of it. That would be the start. It's the left turn thing that really screws everything up. Somebody trying to turn left. Yeah. They're on North Shore and they're trying to turn left off North Shore. Backs it up forever.
Yeah.
So if we at least had the turn lane in there, because the other side too is if you're trying to come onto North Shore and turn left onto North Shore from Wallace or one of those,
I'm just doing the
you might get clearance to get past the oncoming traffic on your left, but the right, your ability to get both lanes cleared enough for you to get in, it's rough.
Oh yeah.
So we need that suicide lane on for a lot of North Shore, and there's a lot of stretches there where it could fit, but there's a lot of stretches where it couldn't. Like you get down there, right there on the end before you get to Ebenezer Lake,
right,
where you have that dental building and that little office building that's tucked in there right on the lake, and then you have that house right on the other side.
All right, bye, friend.
Thinking every time.
There's like a 4-foot wall on the side of the road.
Yeah,
that's that house's front yard. Like there's no, you're gonna have to buy a whole bunch of that guy's house front yard.
Yeah, because it's commercial on the opposite side.
Yeah, and that commercial's got right. It's got like a 6-foot wall to go into its parking lot.
I've seen people have fun trying to pull in and out of that thing.
Yeah, so that's a cool little office building, though. Like,
yeah.
if the world worked right, I'd put the studio in there. It'd be a cool place to have the office building. Top floor in there, looking out over the lake.
I saw a couple fishing there by that little parking lot. Or there, that red brick one that's just past there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's like the 3-story one.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the little small one. That's a little pediatric clinic.
There's just two next to each other, but yeah.
Yeah. Saw somebody fishing in there. I wonder if it would work. On the interstate, you kind of see in like mountainous areas where mostly it's 2 lanes, but every 4 or 5 miles they'll kind of have like a passing lane.
I think it would help. I think where you could fit it in on North Shore.
Yeah.
Where you could put a suicide lane in, I think it'd have to be.
Is that
a
what you mean by a
lane.
suicide lane?
No, the suicide lane is like the middle lane in Kingston Pike.
Okay.
It's your
middle turn lane or whatever.
Right. It's if you're going a direction, you can pull into it to turn left, or if you're coming onto that road, turning left, it's a place where you can get into the middle before you get into the direction you're going.
I was thinking suicide lane could also be like an extra median on either side.
Yeah, no,
I've heard the term suicide lane, but never knew what it was supposed to be.
That's what I've always referenced it as. It's the one in the middle where it's technically open to both lanes of traffic.
Yeah, so I guess I can see how that being suicide.
Right,
Because you're going to coming in opposite directions.
Right, and it happens sometimes where you're trying to
It's like, well, I need to turn into there. Like, well, I need to turn just past you. And like, well, neither one of us are getting past each other.
Right. And then we get into a Mexican standoff of sorts.
You back up. No, you back up.
Exactly. But yeah, I think North Shore all the way down, anywhere they could fit a suicide lane would be the start of what North Shore needs. But I mean, hell, right here in the Rocky Hill Shopping District and stuff like that, really, 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 really needs a third lane, that middle lane all the way through it.
I mean, just that red light backs up traffic.
And there's no way they could do it.
Right.
Like the donut shop that's on the corner is gone if they add that lane, or they have to take out the gas stations on the other side of the road.
Wait, Nuclear, what is this?
There's no other option.
What is this?
Like it's impossible with that. The Morel North Shore intersection. The only way they could add a third lane to Morel proper, or I'm sorry, not Morel, but to North Shore proper, is they'd have to take out the Casey's and that Exxon, or they'd have to take out the Weigels and the donut shop. It's the only way it's possible. And I don't know how the city could pull that off.
Yeah.
Another side note: when I run for mayor of Knox County, my first, I'm going to run for mayor of Knox County on annexing the city of Knoxville.
Did you see that your beloved Cass Walker
I've
had
done,
like 2 different times of trying to... Okay, I guess you saw that part.
Don't beloved me. I did not
sorry.
share that with you because I like the guy and I liked his stances.
Oh, okay.
I shared that with you because it was an interesting piece. Actually, that's exactly why I shared it with you, because like me and this motherfucker would not be friends.
Okay.
Because yes, 2 times. Once when he was actually on city council, once as a citizen post his political career, he went above and beyond out of his way to make sure Metro didn't happen for Knoxville. I would love to know his reasoning on why. But as a city councilor,
wrote some like op-eds, may be able to find.
The Dempster quote is my favorite thing in that. Did you read the part that was?
I did, but I don't recall what exactly it said.
So the Dempster, is it the Dempster family? Is that those people? Is it the same people?
I've heard that being locally, but I don't know.
Like right,
Or being a local.
Because we had a Dempster that we went to school with, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same family or not.
Anyway, so yeah, that part where there was a Dempster who was another city councilor who the quote was something along the, I asked for a car full of SOBs and if they brought me just Cass Walker, I would say they did their job.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be a compliment or a dig.
I'm pretty sure it was a dig. The way that
I can see it as a compliment. It's like, hey, I asked for a bunch of people, but if they just sent this guy, like he would be enough.
But
They threw in the SOB part.
Right. If I asked for if I wanted a car full of trouble, and you brought me him, that's a car full of trouble.
Gotcha. Okay. So my first reading,
which
of it,
apparently
I thought
was
it
also
like a compliment.
But apparently they also were like it was the way it was described in the wiki article was that Walker was Dempster was a mentor to Walker.
Okay.
In his rise as a public figure, and then as time progressed, Walker became antithetical to Dempster's objectives and stuff like that. They went from friends to enemies in the span of time.
I saw you had a periodical for a while, and they said one of the reasons they had to shut it down was libel law, or I guess they had lawsuits against him for libel reasons.
Yeah, Cass had a newsletter that he put out that he started doing as a city councilor. I can't remember what he titled it, but it's basically him just dishing dirt on what's going on, because Cass's whole thing was, I'm the everyman. I own 50 grocery stores in the Southeast, in Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. I'm just some normal. I'm a country guy. Yeah. No, you're not. You might have started that way, but you ain't no more. But anyway, that was his whole thing, and that was his political state. That was his political play. He was the everyman country boy that was playing in the big city and trying to get things right for the regular folks out there.
Yeah.
And so he that was always his brand.
It did seem like a little bit of a rags to riches story, I guess. It
was 7 of 11 kids or something like that.
Yeah, left school at 16, go work in the coal mines and another Champion factory. Then saved up some money, came back and started a single grocery store. Yeah,
and ended up with 40 something in Kentucky, Virginia. I don't know if North Carolina might have been a misspoke.
It was a few different states,
but it was definitely Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia. It was 40 something grocery stores. It's not nothing.
No.
But yeah, his whole thing with the radio and the Dolly Parton connection was his marketing strategy was he bought time on the radio, and it wasn't that he bought ads on the radio. He did a show, which was not abnormal for the time. It was the Cass Walker's radio hour, and he produced a show of whatever it was, and constantly referenced his grocery stores in it. And one of the things he did on a show was he brought in people like the Everly Brothers and Dolly Parton, who, for East Tennessee music history, are about as big as it fucking gets.
Yeah.
And so he is connected to, two of the biggest musical acts to come out of the East Tennessee region ever. And part of their rise, theoretically. And so, interesting, fun character. Apparently, the Museum of Appalachia or something like that has a
Cass Walker Days or something.
It has a in the museum. Where was it? I need to pull up the article. It was a reference to, there is a section. There's Cass Walker's Mercantile, which is one of the gift shops in Dollywood.
Yeah,
that Dolly put in as a reference to him. But then I think it's the Museum of Appalachia. It might be the East Tennessee Museum
of
downtown.
Natural History. Yeah,
not Natural History, but the
Museum of History. East Tennessee Museum of History.
Yeah, that there's a section in there that's on him. And so, anyway, Cass Walker's an interesting character, and maybe that's my goal. I want to be the next Cass Walker. I just sell drugs, not groceries. So, anyway, let's get weird.
Oh, yeah, you get glasses. Got a 4-year-old calls police in Wisconsin after mom eats his ice cream.
Ooh.
4-year-old boy with a sweet tooth in Wisconsin called 911 to report on his mom for eating his ice cream. The officers dropped by last week to use this as a teaching moment for the boy to only use 911 for a real emergency. I guess they showed up a week later, it sounds like. Hey, little Timmy. So about last week when you called us on your mom, I appreciate your honesty.
Officers, please respond. We have a domestic disturbance. There are reports of an abusive mother stealing a child's ice cream. Please respond. Unit 57, I'm en route.
Speaking of SOBs, this was a funny one I saw. Illinois votes on a new state flag design and chooses the current one.
Do you know what Illinois state flag looks like? You're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It's not a very exciting flag.
Yeah, apparently they call it an SOB, or a seal on a bed sheet.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought it was blue, though. I didn't know it was white. I thought it was a blue flag.
And it showed a couple other other ones that I guess like the Secretary of State's Flag Commission or something like that.
I mean, Tennessee's got a great flag. I'll give you that. I will say that. I think it's good. It has some good representation to it. There are the 3 regions. That's why we have 3 stars. It's a fun little. I think Tennessee has a great state flag. Wisconsin's state flag is pretty boring too. It's a blue flag with a. Maybe that's what I was conflating with it. Wisconsin's a blue flag with their seal on it.
There's a couple that are kind of simple. Sometimes simple's good. Like I said, apparently, I guess it looks like 43% voted
but the
for
seals are never simple. That's the thing. Like Tennessee state seal is complicated as shit.
This one's not too complicated.
You got some weird people. You got some Greek god or something on it, and agriculture, and
I guess I didn't really pay attention to our state seal.
I'm not sure of ours, but I know there's a couple states that have like Athena or something like that as a character. There's a person. Tennessee's flag has 3 sections. Tennessee's seal, I think, has 3 sections, and it's agriculture. I think it's agriculture, mining, and something.
Music, maybe? No.
This is, it's not.
Yeah, there's usually kind of symbolism, a few different symbolisms in state seals that.
Oh, no, it's just agriculture and commerce.
Oh, okay.
Just 2.
Hey.
Which is a boat, which is kind of weird. The commerce one is represented with a boat. Which, I mean, the Tennessee River.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That runs through the state does a lot of commerce.
Knoxville used to be the capital.
Yeah.
I think it was late 1800s, maybe.
But, I mean, yeah, the river runs all the way through the state, and that river runs to the Mississippi, which runs to everything else in the fucking world.
Where does it flow south to? 'Cause it doesn't cross the Cumberland. Or does it go?
Tennessee River?
Yeah.
It flows to the Mississippi in Memphis, and then runs down to the Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of America.
I think it ran into the Mississippi. I know there's like connecting.
No, you could literally we talked about this when Red was on the show. I made a joke about like I have this weird idea that it might be kind of fun to do to get a nice houseboat, not houseboat, but like a boat that you could sleep in and comfortable, whatever, and go from Volunteer Landing all the way down to New Orleans. It's
look at a map.
It wouldn't be hard to do. Like it's just
the Cumberland Plateau. I think it's kind of where.
No, it goes down to Chattanooga. So the Tennessee River goes down to Chattanooga,
right.
And then hooks back up up near Nashville, and then winds across the western half of the state into Memphis, and then hits the river in Memphis.
So I've heard people taking I thought it connected to like the Natchez Trace, where I've heard of people taking that from like Tennessee south down to the Gulf. But I think maybe that just goes through like Mississippi.
There might be a way to cut a little bit of time off that way, but you can you can literally there. I would bet $1 bajillion that if you could find it, there is a rubber ducky
that's floated
from the rubber duck race that we used to do here,
right?
That you could find in the Gulf of Mexico. Or rephrase that one made it there. You probably couldn't find it there at this point. It could be anywhere at this point from that part. So one more, let's do it.
All right.
Sidebar, that is one of my side projects. I want to bring back the great Knoxville rubber duck race.
Okay. I wanted to bring back Toodles years ago.
What is it?
Toodles.
What is Toodles?
Just a way to say goodbye. Toodles.
Oh, I thought you meant like I've used Toodles here and there randomly.
No. I was trying to like popularize it among my friends. I'm like, I'm trying to bring back Toodles.
I know you're awesomely weird that way, and I love it. That's why I love you. It's one of the many reasons I love you.
Got a follow-up to one we talked about before. So we got a mission judge wanted Walmart shoplifters to wash cars.
Oh yeah.
His boss stepped on the hose.
His boss.
Yeah. The unusual sentence came from the judge. Let's see here. For only a few months, he said having shoplifters give free car washes would serve the community and possibly discourage other people from stealing from the big retailer. But Chief Judge overruled him, saying the junior jurist first should have sought approval from him and other court officials. This is especially true where the proposed alternative punishment deviates from the usual and accepted methods. The judge said in a statement Friday, adding that Walmart washes will not be taking place as reported.
Well, like I was thinking about that. I remember thinking about that after we did that show and thinking, I have a problem with it because it's Walmart. Like if it was me,
yeah, it's weird to kind of go for a private retailer, right. But
I don't mind. The private retailer part's not the part that I have issue with. It's if you're going to do that method, okay, cool. But if they're shoplifting from some mom and pop, are you going to make them do something like that there?
All right.
Because if so, I mean that like
it's going to work because I'm all for like restitution, but would that money earned go back to like that particular store? But that goes into the corporate fund per se.
I mean, even that's
so like I said, more into like the mom and pop. It's like, hey, like you caused $500 worth of loss to this,
right?
This
and we're going to make this thing. We're going to make you do this thing that's going to more than compensate for $500+ in
restitution.
Not right. Right. You're going to restitute that $500 in publicity instead of in dollars.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like how are you going to get that kind of value in publicity for a mom and pop?
Yeah, you have to do 5 commercials. Yeah, like how willing are you going to
be? Because then all of a sudden it comes out into is okay. So the judge and the local justice system is becoming a marketing company, functionally.
But it's not marketing for Walmart, I guess.
It absolutely is. That's the restitution that they're giving. They're not giving Walmart they're not getting Walmart their money back. They're getting Walmart something in value back. And that value is marketing.
A little bit. It's kind of like an odd concept. Because it's a little bit of a restitution back to the community itself.
I mean, like the news would come out. I would think the news is come out like these individuals have been sentenced to washing your car. How many times can you do that before it loses its value?
I guess like in the Walmart's case, I don't think that it would add any extra business.
No, not to Walmart. But for me, for a little mom and pop, it would.
Right.
But then if it happened all the time, then it wouldn't either, because then the local news isn't going to show up or any of the other things go with it.
Maybe.
Like I would personally, yes, I would love that. If I caught somebody stealing from me and the cops came out and arrested them, hey, instead of going to jail, you could we could do this public shaming event out in the parking lot in front of this place, and that's going to do a bunch of publicity for you. I would take that in a heartbeat. If I was the first, if I was the 5th or 6th or 10th, think, I'd rather get my money back. Because it loses its value over time. But especially Walmart, screw those guys. I mean, they don't need that kind of. They don't need the publicity help that its mom and pop would.
Right. I don't think the judge had Walmart's feelings in his mind whatsoever. I think this was more of a deterrent to the community.
I get the through line on the judge's point of view, but on deeper thought on it, I'm just like, there's no. Yes, the shame part's great. I'm good with public shaming. I'm fun with that. But man, A, screw Walmart, but B, the value that is going to bring to the companies that they're being punished for is not going to equate to the losses.
I don't know.
Not long term.
I mean, depending on how many people I saw, I would be surprised and be like, this many people got busted this last month and like stealing from this place? Like, damn.
Well, I mean, even
that many like petty thefts happening on a day-to-day basis.
But even if it's just one, and you could do a marketing thing around it and be like, "Hey, come down to eVape this weekend. We got free car washes thanks to this guy who tried to steal from us."
Right. Give him a piece of your mind.
Yeah, which again,
tell him that you love him, love us, and hate him.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of little weirdisms to that part for me. So I don't know. It's interesting. I like the novel. I like the thought process. I like the thinking outside the box parts of it. But
I'd like to see more community service used as in part of sentencing.
I don't know, because if I'm the business on the side, I don't give a shit. I don't care if the roads are cleaner. Come on now. If you have to go pick up trash because you stole from me, that doesn't give me the $500 you took from me back.
talking about in general.
I know. I'm just saying, like, but at the same time,
I'm sure
if you're
as a business owner, you would appreciate it if there was a bunch of trash that was constantly piling up around
But at the same
your
time, if
business.
they throw you in jail, I'm not getting my $500 back either. So which one's more value to me? I get what you're saying.
I'm saying just even like your local, commercial neighborhood in any place is going to attract more business if it looks a little bit nicer outside.
Yeah, perhaps. If that's the community service agreement and stuff like that, that's I don't know. I guess the reality is I'm not getting my $500 of product that you stole from me back either way. I would rather have community service than put you in jail. That's fair. I'll agree with that. Whether that community service is directly positive for me or not.
I think it's usually they sentence them some kind of restitution. I guess it depends on their ability to pay, or assuming there's some kind of.
I mean, it's usually
there's some kind of fund they can do that they pay the city, that the city pays the business back.
Right, but like it's a fine and right, no, whatever. I don't know. Regardless, I'm not getting my money back. I'd rather any street in the city be cleaner than you be in jail. Okay, I can get the price.
I think the business can still get their restitution. I think you can constantly have that lawsuit against that person.
Right, but if they can't ever pay it, they can't ever pay it. You can't make them pay something they don't have money to pay for.
I agree. That's where it gets into the weird area where a lot of people end up going to jail for unpaid fines.
There's a difference between criminality, because theft is criminal, and theft is also civil. There's a line between there's a line of criminal and civil.
Right.
The state's going to get their part. That's the criminal part. The civil part, I can civilly do whatever I want, and if you can't pay it, I can't get it. Whether it's through bankruptcy or you just continue to not pay it and rack it up. Doesn't matter.
I don't know if you would have to sue them civilly. I thought it's a part of
it could be part of the criminal process. Sure, it could be part of the criminal process, but it doesn't matter. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
Right.
And if I'm not satisfied, my opinion may matter in the criminal punishment that goes along with it, but I'm still not going to be satisfied monetarily. I mean, they figure out a way
to garnish wages for child support and like other unpaid taxes and things like that. So
yeah, I suppose.
I could see if you owe money to the state or city for unpaid fines, there's a way to try to get some of that money back.
Which again, I'm not going to get those if you're in jail. So go do some community service, go to work, and we're going to steal your wages until I get my money back.
Seen that happen too.
Yeah, that works for me. Anyway, what else? Anything last call, Fred? Anything last?
I don't think so.
I feel like we're missing something. Something major crazy happened this week? Guess not. That was a couple weeks ago. I will say, on the Dolly's husband front, I did put in every email I sent out to her managers and publicists that I understand it's a difficult time for her, and that I apologize for bringing my stupid request for information up in a time of mourning, and that my heart and many hearts go out to her for her loss, and I hate it for her. But anyway, almostagreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Go to hollaroo.co. Sign up today. We're going to have a good time, and you should be a part of it. Favorite podcast providers, like, friend, follow, share, text this to your friends. Do what you can do to spread the show around. I'm having a really good time meeting random people that listen to the show. So if you run into me on the street, say hello. Or email me at almostagreement@gmail.com. Tell me how much you love Sam, too, because he's the best. Anyway, that's our show, everybody. We'll be back next week for more.